You know, I've been bow hunting a long time. Actually, this will be my 28th season coming up this year of hunting with a bow and arrow, and I still enjoy it just as much as I did when I climbed that tree stand and hunted with a bow for the first time when I was about 13 years old. And over the years, it's become a passion, and I still enjoy it. Shot a lot of small bucks, does. You know, last year I was able to shoot a really nice deer, you know, I usually kill at least one pretty good sized buck a year with my bow, and you know, several does, but I still enjoy bow hunting. Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can increase your odds of making the shot on opening day when you get that first opportunity of the year and not mess up. Because let's face it, if you mess the shot up, you mess the hunt up. So I don't want you to do that. So we're going to be talking about how you can increase your odds right now, doing stuff right now for opening day so you don't miss that deer that comes by that you've been waiting all year for. As I said, I've been bow hunting a long time, and you know, a lot of things have changed since I started bow hunting. You know, equipment's changed, bows have evolved. Actually, right here in my hand, I just wanted to share with y'all, I've actually got one of my bows that I actually hunted with back in the early 90s. It wasn't this particular bow here. I actually found this bow at a yard sale, but I owned the very same bow, one like it rather, and I just wanted it for sentimental reasons and for a collector's item. But when I saw this at a yard sale, I picked it up and I said, man, I want that just because it's sentimental. But some of you old school guys will recognize this brand. Many of you young guys that's just been bow hunting, you know, the last 10 years or less, you ain't even gonna know what this brand is. But some of you that's been hunting for 25, 30 years, you'll recognize this logo, the Golden Eagle. Y'all remember that? You know, this used to really be one of my favorite bow companies to shoot. I owned about 3 different Golden Eagles, and of course, back then I shot instinctive. As you can tell, I don't have no sights on this bow, and I just wanted to keep it like I shot it when I had it. Of course, back then I had a different rest, and I shot fingers and I shot instinctive. But boy, back then I could drill about anything. You know, deers, rabbits, shoot rabbits in the head, squirrels, shoot, and shoot instinctive. And they were really good shooting bows for the time. This is a Golden Eagle Hawk here, and you know, a lot of the quote video guys back in the early 90s and late 80s, you know, this was the bow, man. This was like your Matthew Halon and your elites now. But you know, this is what we shot. I'll take a shot right here, right quick. Of course, we didn't have, you know, string loops back then. We just had knocks, you know, just like I got here. The old 3 little knocking points under your main knock, and you know, they still shot good. 60% let off, no let off at all. And boy, you can feel it. That's about 60 pounds there, and you're holding, you know, quite a bit. But yeah, see, slow but accurate. Actually, that wasn't a bad shot right there because it was only about, you know, 15 yards there. But you know, they worked. Of course, now equipment has changed a lot. I don't hunt with this anymore. I hunt with a, you know, more modern bow. I shoot an Elite Impulse. It's a great bow, and I just think it's one of the best bows I've ever had in my hands. As you can tell, a lot shorter and a lot faster, a lot faster than that Golden Eagle. And now, you know, we got so much power in these bows, and boy, you know, just the let off is insane when you shoot that one and shoot this one. And it's just so much more compact, and you know, everything's evolved and it's got shorter and just a lot better over the years. But you know, the one thing that hasn't changed from the time I shot that Golden Eagle to this bow is I still got to make that shot. You still got to make that shot, whether you've been bow hunting 40 years or you know, just this your first year. You still got to be able to make that critical shot, and sometimes that shot is not going to be wide open wide open like this, 15, 20 yards, you're going to have to make a difficult shot. So you need to be practicing that right now. You need to be practicing them different situations and shooting situations right now, because let's face it, when you're up there in a stand, everything changes. When you're on the ground in a ground blind, everything changes. You don't have sticks and brush, and you don't have maybe little forks of a limb you got to shoot through or whatever the case. You say, well, you shouldn't be shooting through that anyway. Well, that's true, but you know what? Sometimes you got to make that quick shot. And if you think you can make that shot, then you need to take that shot. Because, in other words, you're going to let a lot of deer walk by if you don't practice, because you're not confident. And you should never, and I'll say this, you should never shoot at any deer or any living animal if you're not confident that you can't make that shot. You owe it to the animal, and you owe it to the sport of hunting to let that deer go. Last year, I did a video on practicing like you're going to be hunting. And I'm not going to go through a whole lot of that again, because you can just go back and watch, or I'll link it to this video. But I will discuss maybe a part 2 to this, and discuss some situations that you might want to practice in July and August before September and October gets here, that's going to make you a better shot and better prepared for opening day. There are more deer that is missed from a tree stand than probably on the ground, truth be known. Especially if you're a new bow hunter and you haven't been bow hunting very long. When you shoot rather from an elevated position straight down from a tree, or even from a target, everything's going to change a little bit. And a lot of people shoot over a deer. It's the shot that happens the most. You shoot over the deer when your pin and everything was settled right in behind his shoulder, and you say, why did I miss that deer? Well, your elevation changes, and that's why it's normal for me, because like I said, I've been bow hunting for 28 years, but I can tell you this, it's normal. It is like putting on a pair of jeans or shorts to me, or my shirt in the morning. That's how normal it is for me to get a tree stand, and when I see a deer, and even when I'm on the ground I do this too, but I'm always thinking shoot low. I'm always aiming a little bit lower than it would, say, on a target. Well, why would I do that? Well, for 2 reasons. One, you've got to allow for that arrow to drop, because you're shooting from an elevated position. 2, that deer is going to react, unlike the target out here, or a 3D target even, that deer is going to react to that noise going off, that bow noise, that string slapping against, slapping when this bow goes off. Now, it's true that some bows are quieter than others, and that's why I want to shoot a bow, and I want to make sure by opening day everything's quiet, everything's tightened down, and this bow is as quiet as I possibly can get it to reduce a lot of that string slap. But you're never going to take care of it totally. It's never going to happen. So a lot of times a deer will react to that noise of that bow going off, so that deer drops. Well, when that deer drops, everything changes. Bow hunting is a game of inches. We all know that. If you shoot a deer in the lungs, say the back of the lungs, and that's a lethal shot. That deer is going to be down in just a matter of minutes. But let's say you're off 3 or 4 inches and you hit in the liver. Well, then you're going to have to give that deer time. Everything changes. The tracking changes. It's going to be a tougher shot to track. So everything changes just by a few inches. So bow hunting is a game of inches. That's why it's so important that we get out here and practice, and we get out here and we make sure that we are giving ourselves every advantage of making a good, clean, quick kill. Because we don't want to be wounding stuff, and we don't want to be losing deer, making them suffer, and giving hunting a bad name. We don't want that. So when you're shooting from an elevated position, well, first you want to practice that way. Now, I don't have a tree stand up in any of these trees, because I can't stick none up in these trees at my house. I would get on the roof, but my ladder is not here at the moment. But I usually get on the roof of the house actually and shoot down at my target some, and just practice doing that. And I'll always aim just a little bit low. Now here's my formula for doing this. I always try to heart shoot a deer. What do you mean? Well, if you look at the deer's anatomy, you got the lungs and you got the heart that lays right under the lungs. I always try to shoot for the heart, whether I'm on the ground or whether I'm in a tree. I'm always aiming, instead of right behind the shoulder, or right behind, right where everybody tells you to, and where a target would be out in the backyard, I always come lower and I aim for the heart. Well, let's think about it. If the deer don't jump the string, maybe it's really close, or Just don't react to it, because sometimes that happens. If the deer don't react, it's going to be a heart shot, and that deer is going to be down in just a few seconds, because a heart shot is probably the most lethal shot that you can have on a deer. Probably more lethal than the lungs, to be honest. A heart shot deer ain't going to go out of your sight, pretty much. If they don't drop, you will get them a heart. If they do drop a little, it's going to be a double lung center punch, so you'll win either way. Whereas if you aimed right for behind the shoulder and they drop, you might shoot over them, or you might hit them up high, and then you're going to have some problems. So I always aim low. So it's just normal to me. It's so natural to me now that when I'm pulling back and I'm looking down at a deer from a stand, and I'm pulling down just like that, the big buck I shot last year. When I pull back on that deer, I came low and I put it right low, near his heart, and he didn't jump the string at all. And he didn't go out of sight. He went 30 yards and dropped right in front of the stand. But I have had them drop, and they go maybe 60, 70 yards double lung, and they expire. But when a deer drops, everything changes. It's a matter of inches. So always keep that in your mind, whether on the ground or in a tree. Keep it low. Aim for the heart. If you don't know where the heart of a deer is, look on the anatomy on your phone. Pull up the anatomy. And start remembering out in the wild. Put it on the heart, and you can't go wrong. The kneeling shot is another shot that's really important for you to practice in the off season, because a kneeling shot, especially if you hunt on the ground, which is mostly what a kneeling shot's where it's going to happen. If you're hunting on the ground, whether you're stalking a deer or maybe you're just hunting, behind a tree, like I showed you last year and killed that deer last year on film, because I do bow hunt on the ground quite a bit in the early season. When you're just kneeling, you want to practice them kneeling shots, because everything changes. It's not. We get too blocked in our head. Being out here in the backyard, July, August, September, pulling back, settling the pin in, taking all this time and shooting. Well, we don't hunt like that. So you got to practice the way that you're going to be hunting on opening day, because it will make a difference. So I practice kneeling shots. Practice it a lot, and again, put you a paper plate up there, and if you can put 8 out of 10 arrows in that paper plate, you've killed a deer. You have killed a whitetail deer every single time. So if you can do that 8 out of 10 times, I would say that you're ready for a kneeling shot. Little things that you might want to remember come opening day, because they will make a big difference. And we'll do some more videos as the weeks come on different angles, different ways you can shoot, different ways to tune your bow, and we want to make sure that we're 100% when we get out there come opening day. So we're going to get back to shooting, and I hope these little tips maybe help you this coming summer when you're out there practicing for that whitetail deer this fall.